Hi, I'm Nelle from Lucid. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you the download as to why fast fashion is complete trash. We have found ourselves in the middle of a little bit of a climate crisis. We supposedly have to cut our greenhouse gas emissions down to zero by 2050, but we definitely have a lot less time than that to figure out our shit. Fast fashion is a huge contributor to those greenhouse gas Fast fashion makes a huge contribution to our greenhouse gas emissions, so we gotta do something about it. I feel like a lot of people know about fast fashion and the fact that it's not great for the environment, but I think a lot of people don't really know the ins and outs and the facts, and I think knowing those facts and all the details is the difference between someone thinking, yeah, I know that's a problem, but whatever, I'm not gonna deal with it, and someone thinking, oh shit, I've got to sort out myself, I've got to change my habits, I've got to make a difference so that I am not contributing to that. So here I am to give you some facts and details about why fast fashion is really bad for the environment, for human welfare, for animal welfare, and a whole abundance of things that are currently in a crisis that fast fashion is contributing to. So let's start with the big old question, what is fast fashion? So fast fashion is the practice of distributing clothes as cheaply and as frequently as possible. So fast fashion retailers are those that are putting out tons of new clothing and new lines and new designs every single month or even every single week for some retailers. They're selling them really cheaply and they're pushing the sales and just selling tons and tons of the stuff to people that do not need them, and it's creating a lot of problems. And these retailers are super competitive. So the faster and cheaper one retailer is putting clothes out, the faster the competitors are going to, and it just creates a whole big old problem. And if you go onto these fast fashion retail sites, you will see an abundance of promotion that is pushing consumers to purchase more and more at a quicker and cheaper rate. They're not just advertising their items, they're advertising tons of discounts, and they have those little countdowns that tell you you've got like 2 hours until next day delivery to kind of push you to order stuff as soon as possible without giving you a chance to really think about whether or not you need or want it. I don't really know much about fashion retailers outside of the UK, but here are lots of fast fashion retailers to look out for. So let's talk about pollution. The process of dyeing textile items is the second largest polluter of clean water. This means that lots of chemicals and toxic products are entering water systems and not only affecting clean water that is available for humans to drink, but it affects local crops, local farming, local habitats. It causes a whole lot of disruption that has a knock-on effect and creates a lot of damage for a lot of people and for the planet. Fashion production actually makes up 10% of humanity's carbon footprint and actually has a larger carbon footprint than air travel and shipping combined. In terms of climate change activism and changing our habits and our lifestyles and the way we live to try and help the planet, there is a lot of talk about oil consumption and flight travel, etc. But in comparison, there's really not that much chat about the fashion industry. There needs to be more focus on the fashion industry, or specifically the fast fashion industry, to drastically reduce our carbon and greenhouse emissions. So a lot of cheap clothing is made from polyester because polyester is cheap to produce. Polyester fibers are plastic. So this fact is actually from 2014, so this is actually going to be a lot more now, releasing 655 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And the production of polyester fibers actually makes up for 40% of the fashion industry's carbon emissions. So polyester is already looking not that great. But it gets worse. Polyester items shed plastic microfibers that end up going through water systems and entering waterways. And this isn't just a problem for sea life and the animals living in these waterways, it's a problem for humans too. And here's one of the reasons why. Plankton eat the microfibers, fish eat the plankton, human eat the fish, you are eating plastic. Which isn't an issue if you don't eat fish, of course, but it's still a huge problem because all of the animals within those waterways are eating that plastic, and that's not good. So the microplastics that come off of polyester fashion items make up for 35% of all of the microplastics in the ocean. That equates to 500,000 tons of microplastics every year, which is the equivalent of 50 billion plastic bottles. The fashion industry is the second largest consumer of water worldwide, and that's because it takes about 700 gallons of water to produce one cotton t-shirt and 2,000 gallons of water to produce one pair of jeans. Cotton crops take a lot of water to grow, which means a lot of water consumption. But it also requires a lot of fertilizer, and fertilizer produces a lot of nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is another greenhouse gas which actually has 300 times more warming power than CO2. So nitrous oxide isn't great for the whole global warming situation. Cotton plant growth can also be helped with the use of pesticides, and pesticides are toxic to animal life, livestock, and humans. There is actually record of cotton farmers growing brain tumours as a result of handling the pesticides, and also cotton farmers having children that have birth defects. So pesticides are also a big no-no. This is where with cotton consumption it's great to go with organic cotton, but organic cotton only makes up for 1% of the world's cotton use. Let's move on to waste. We know that there is a lot of clothing waste because of the fast fashion industry. There are actually fast fashion retailers that boast about the amount of clothing that they're putting out there. Here's an example of a fast fashion retailer doing exactly that. So this is from Misguided. So they start by telling you that you need their stuff. We create looks designed by in-house talent that's made to equip millennial women with the fashion they need for all elements of their life. Do they need it? And since our aim is all about empowerment, now, I don't think that the garment workers that are being exploited to make your cheap crap are thinking it's that empowering, but we'll get onto that in a second. And since our aim is all about empowerment, we make it easy for everyone by making our product affordable. It's not just fast fashion, it's rapid fashion. Rapid fashion. This is not what we need. We drop up to 1,000 brand new styles every week, working constantly to bring our babes the freshest pieces put together in wearable, ready-to-go outfits. 1,000 a week, that is insane. They do not need 1,000 a week new designed items. That is a ridiculous amount, and that is the reason why we have so much fashion waste. It's the reason why one rubbish truck of fashion waste is dumped in landfill every second. Every second. That is insanity. How anyone can listen to that kind of fact and just ignore it blows my mind. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Disgusting! So let's talk about why it's so cheap. It's cheap because they cut costs by cutting corners. How do they cut those corners? They don't pay their workers fair wages, and these garment workers are forced to work a lot of overtime with no extra pay and no access to any trade unions. They're often verbally, physically, and sexually exploited by their superiors, and these abuse tactics are often used as a deterrent to stop them getting help and going to trade unions if they even have access to them in the first place. By giving money to your fast fashion retailers, you are literally killing these women. They are women that are getting ill and exhausted and can't feed their families because you've decided you'd rather spend £3 on that neon green dress than go to a decent fashion retailer. In the UK, 70% of retailers believe there's some form of modern slavery within their production line. They know about this, they know it's a thing, and a lot of retailers do nothing about it. And these retailers are making the situation a lot worse. They very often are playing these suppliers off of each other to get the fastest and the cheapest work rate from them. I'm sure there is plenty more information and facts that are out there that you can go and research yourself if you wish, but there are plenty of things that we as consumers can do to help. One of the biggest things, and one of the things I kind of tell people to do most often, is cast your vote with your money. By choosing who you give your money to and which companies you want to support, you are casting a vote about the kind of lifestyle and society you want to be living in. So give your money to sustainable, ethical, and eco-conscious retailers and avoid fast fashion retailers. But be careful, keep an eye out for greenwashing. The words sustainable and eco-friendly have kind of become trend words, and there are a lot of retailers out there that are using the word sustainability and eco-friendly as a way to market and advertise their items. There are companies like H&M who, whilst on the face of it seem like they're making progress in terms of their production line, it's very much being used as a marketing strategy. Yes, it's fantastic that they can offer a line of sustainable clothing, but it's just a line that is a very minimal line that you can only get in store at very particular stores. Now, if I was H&M and I really wanted to make a statement about the fact that we were changing our production line to make it more ethical and sustainable and eco-friendly, I'd be doing that across the board. I'd be making every line that we release ethical and sustainable. And that's dangerous because for people who know that fast fashion isn't necessarily great for the environment, but they don't know the ins and outs, they'll go to that fast fashion retailer and they'll see that they are eco-friendly and then think it's okay to shop with them, when actually you're not really helping the situation. You're still putting your money into a system that is still exploiting people and creating a lot of damage. And also, what does sustainable mean? A company can say that their product is sustainable because a very specific part of their production line is done in an ethical and eco-friendly way, but that doesn't mean it's good. I think I'm going to do a whole other video on green fashion and examples of it and things to keep an eye out on, but it's just something to bear in mind for now. You can also shop independently independent and local business, and by doing this you're putting your money into your local economy. You're also putting your money into a much slower and much less wasteful production line. And as an independent seller myself, let me tell you, when someone buys something, it literally makes your day. You could be having an awful day, and if someone buys something off your little shop, it fills you with joy and it's wonderful. So please do that. Not just mine, but plenty of independent retailers. Give them your money because they deserve it. They work really fucking hard. Shop secondhand. We need to take the taboo out of the phrase secondhand and pre-loved. Make it into something that is exciting rather than old and dirty. Secondhand shopping is fantastic and you can find some absolute gems. I feel like you can come up with your own sort of fashion style rather than following trends. But online stores such as Depop do mean that you can follow trends if you wish. Items are cheaper than they would be. And a lot of the time you're getting items that have been worn like twice, so they're basically new anyway. You can secondhand shop at charity and thrift stores, but there's also online places like eBay and Depop. There are a few charities that also have online shops. Shop your own wardrobe. Look at the items that you already own and get excited about them again. When you go through your wardrobe and you really look at everything that you have and the different combinations you can put together, you can have so many outfits but without buying anything new. You can also upcycle. If you come from my Instagram, you know it's my forte. But upcycling is a fantastic way to bring a bit of life back to clothes that either you already own or something you find in a charity shop that you think is maybe a little bit dull or isn't quite the right size or style. You can take those things and you can make them into something new and exciting, but also really unique and styled just for you. There are plenty of ways that you can upcycle. You can make things smaller, bigger, add fabrics, add paint, add glitter. I think at some point I'm going to do like a newbie 101 on upcycling, all the different ways you can upcycle, whether you're a beginner or you're super artistic or someone that doesn't really know what the fuck they're doing. That'll come up at some point, whenever that'll be. But also remember to clothes swap and borrow clothes from your friends. If you see a friend wearing a top that you really like, rather than going out and also getting that top, just ask to borrow it when you go somewhere. Obviously, if you're not a similar sort of size, then that is a bit of an issue, but just bear that in mind before going out and buying something new for yourself. So I think that's pretty much it from me. I hope this video has been useful and has given you a little bit more information as to why fast fashion is a load of shit. I think knowing these facts and knowing these details and shouting about them is really, really vital to really change everyone's fashion habits and make secondhand and ethical, sustainable fashion at the forefront of the fashion industry. Because we need to make changes, otherwise we are fucking this planet over and I'm not going to stand around and watch it. Pass this video on to friends if you want them to be a little bit more aware about their fashion habits and the damage that it's causing. I don't really want to form judgment and tell people how they should live their lives, but I personally don't really understand being able to know these facts and know the info and be very aware of the damage that it's causing and just continue to do it. It's so important that this information gets out there, and it's only going to happen if everyone clubs together and pushes it forward. Thank you for watching. I'll put links down below in the description for sources and websites that I think can be useful. Please do give me a like and a subscribe if you're liking my content so far. I know there's not much of it, but there is more to come. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one.